Hi, it's Barry Neale here. In this video, I want to cover how to know what to do when. Sometimes when you're working with clients, particularly if you're new to hypnosis or NLP, it's kind of confusing as to what to do with your client. Sometimes you might have learned dozens and dozens of different techniques, and then someone comes in and then you think, what am I going to do with this client? Well, here's the thing. If you really pay attention to your clients, particularly how they describe the problem, you'll find some real clues into how you're going to work with them and how you should work with them. And a lot of times these clues will be given off with the languaging they're using, the words that they're using, and how they're describing the problem. So I would really encourage you to pay attention not just to the content of what they say, but also the structure of how they're saying it. So I'd like you to start listening to certain words and keeping your ears out for certain things and paying attention to all the non-verbal communication, because pretty much every client will tell you within the first sentence or so how to work with them. They will tell you up front. And the famous example is in the book Magic in Action by Richard Bandler. He's working with a woman who's got something called anticipatory loss. And right up front, right off the bat, she says something along the lines of, I really need to get some distance between myself and this problem. And straight away that gives Richard the idea of what to do. He knows exactly what to do. And in this particular instance, what he does, because he hears the word distance, she says, I need to get some distance between myself and the problem. So if you think about it in the way of structure, she has this image or thought of the problem, which is close to her. And that is what's causing her this fear, this problem. And she said, I need to get some distance between myself and this problem. So Richard gives her some distance. And what he does is he develops a designer swish pattern that takes that problem and pushes it off into the distance and has the resource come back in the same place. So he's utilizing the location for the resource. But he's heard, I need to get some distance between myself and this problem. And so that's exactly how he's worked with this person. And you'll hear this all the time. I had a similar situation just a few weeks ago with a woman who came in, and as part of what we were doing, we were working with some other issues. But one of the things she said was, this weekend I'm going out to dinner with someone who used to be a really close friend of mine. But she said something happened some years ago and I kind of distanced myself from her. And since then, we've never really had that same connection. Now, think about it. If someone is a close friend, how do you represent them as being close? They're going to be close to you, right? You're not going to be thinking about your friend way off 100 meters away. When you think of them, they're going to be close because they are a close friend. But she also said something happened and I distanced myself from her. So now the friend is over there. She can't feel that same connection with that person because the person's way over there in the distance. So what I did was I had her think about think about someone who is a close friend. Have you got someone you can bring to mind who is a close friend? And she said, oh yeah, I've got my friend, what's her name? And she brought this image up of this close friend. So what I then did was have her take the image of the person she wanted to reconnect with, push that off into the distance, have it go whoosh back into the location of the close friend. And now she can see this person she wants now to reconnect with right here, life size, and she's now feels that connection. So they'll often tell you straight away what you need to do. Sometimes someone says, I've got this problem and it's so overwhelming. Now, think about that. If a problem is overwhelming, what do we know about how they represent the size of that problem? Is it a small problem? When they think about it, do they think about something like really small or something way off in the distance? No, it's going to be a big problem. How are they in relationship to that problem? Are they going to be up above it, looking down on it, or are they going to be like below it and looking up on it? They're going to kind of be below it and looking up on it. This is going to be a big problem. So part of what we need to do is to change that relationship, kind of either shrink the internal representation of the problem down or have them grow up so they get a new perspective. So these are sort of things you want to start paying attention to and start really listening out for in the language when your client describes the problem. Sometimes people will say, I've had this problem for as long as I can remember. Now, when they say things like that, you can kind of get it that they've joined this problem together through time, that it's just connected throughout time. Now, those people are pretty good candidates for any type of regression type issue, to go back to the earliest thing, because in the way they're thinking, it's all connected. So they're the kind of people you want to pick for regression, whether that be traditional age regression or timelines or something like that. But the fact that they're saying it's all linked together, it's always been this way, gives us a clue. You might hear people say, I just can't seem to get focused on this issue. I can't, I've got these things I need to do at work and I just can't seem to maintain focus. Well, if you understand visual submodalities, we need to get that situation in focus. That's one of the things we want to do. Literally get them to change it so that it's now in focus. Some people will talk about their future and they'll say my future's, they'll say my future's really dim. It's like, or I cannot look forward to it. Well, what is blocking them? Why can't they look forward? If their future's dim, we need to brighten it up. Now, this is not the sole method that we're going to use, but it's going to be part of the solution. Other people will come straight in on the bat and say, you know what, I really want to lose weight, but it's kind of like this, I just can't seem to stick to it. It's kind of like there's some part of me holding me back. So that's the sort of thing where we're going to work on the congruence. And we can work with parts. Now, as a proviso on that, as aside from that, I'm doing another video on parts therapy, and I do caution you, if you're going to do one of the traditional hypnosis methods of parts where you're calling out the part and giving it a name and things like that, and creating, basically what you're doing there is creating more incongruence, not less. So I'd caution you on that. But we can do parts therapy, like say for example a 6-step reframe or a visual squash, or if you know something like the core transformation technique, so we can get the person aligned and integrate the part. So oftentimes people will tell you straight off the bat what you need to do. So my goal for you would be to start really listening to your clients, listening to the words they say and listen to how they describe it, and listen for the submodalities. The other thing I'd like you to do is start listening for the adjectives, the descriptive words that they use. And so, for example, because a lot of people say, well, how do I create my own scripts? But how do I create suggestions which I know will have some power? Well, one of the ways you can do that is by asking them about a positive experience and a negative experience. And as they describe the positive experience, you will start to hear some adjectives come out, and start listening to those. And if you get them to start describing a negative experience, you can listen to the adjectives that they use to describe that. And just note down the 3, 4, 5 adjectives that they use. And then when you're designing your therapy, use those words, because those words will be anchors for their experience. And they've already told you that they work. So these are some other things you can use by using their adjectives when they describe something negative or when they describe something positive, and you can use that in your suggestions or your visualizations to create much more power than just reading them a script that's not personalized for them. So just start listening to your clients. They will often give you the words that you need and the structure in order to create change for them. So I hope you get something from this. This is something that you want to really practice and really start paying attention to. So over the next couple of weeks when you're working with clients, just start listening to the words they say. Maybe even if you've got your phone, press the record button on your phone, because sometimes you may miss these things the first few times you're doing it because you get so caught up in the content. And then after the session, play it back and notice what you can notice, because you may hear things the second time through that you didn't get the first time. And you think, I'll get them when we get do the next session. So please have a listen to them. Listen to the words they're saying. Listen to how they describe the problem. Listen to the submodality words, because they will give you a lot of clues into how you can be successful with them. So if you like this video and you want to keep in touch, remember to press the like and subscribe button, because there's loads more videos that I'm creating in the new year which will help you to be a better therapist. See you soon.